Seeing at 6 p.m., I'd like to call the June 18th regular meeting of the Kenai City Council to order. I'd like to welcome everybody here this evening on this very nice evening. Appreciate you taking the time to join us and would ask that if you're able to rise, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Askin?
Here.
Councilmember Doffett is absent. Councilmember Casena?
Here.
Mayor Gabriel?
Here.
Councilmember Daniel?
Here.
Councilmember Sonart?
Here.
Vice Mayor Naxted?
Here.
Student Representative Tanner?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, before we get to approval of agenda and consent agenda, I'd like to call your attention to a laydown you should have in front of you with requested additions to the packet. Action, add item H9, consent agenda, new business ordinance for instruction. Or this would be ordinance number 3480-2025, retroactively amending the fiscal year 2026 salary schedule for temporary employees included in the annual budget for the city of Kenai, Alaska, July 1st, 2025 to June 30, 2026. Also with that is ordinance number 3479-2025 memo and amended temporary employees pay schedule exhibit 1 requested by administration. Just for clarification, Madam Clerk, on the ordinance number 3479-2025 memo, is that different than 3480?
No, it's not. That was a typo. I apologize. That's this memo number should match the ordinance number.
Okay, so that correction should be ordinance number 3480-2025 memo and amended temporary employee pay scale exhibit 1. In addition, we have action, add item H10, action approval, request for a special meeting to authorize binding of city insurances requested by administration. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Naxted.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for approval of the agenda and consent agenda with add items H9, and H10, request unanimous consent.
Second.
Is there anybody from the body who would like to amend the agenda or consent agenda at this time? Seeing none, I'd like to ask the clerk to please read the consent agenda into the record.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of June 4th, 2025, brought to you by the city clerk. Action approval, bills to be ratified. Action approval, non-objection to the ownership transfer of a golf course liquor license from Griffin Golf LLC, doing business as Kenai Golf Course, to KNC Golf, Inc., doing business as Kenai Golf Course, license number 5788, brought to you by the city clerk. Action approval, special use permit to Crowley Fuels LLC for use of 35,000 square feet of apron space for aviation fueling, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to Everett's Air Fuel, Inc. for use of 30,000 square feet of apron space for aircraft loading and parking, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to United Parcel Service Company for use of 4,000 square feet of apron space for aircraft loading and parking, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, Parks and Recreation Commission work plan, brought to you by the city clerk. Action approval, Beautification Commission work plan, brought to you by the city clerk. Introduction of ordinances and scheduling the public hearings for July 2nd, 2024. Ordinance number 3479-2025, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the Airport Improvement Capital Project Fund, accepting a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration, and awarding a professional service agreement for the Kenai Municipal Airport Master Plan, brought to you by the administration. And ordinance number 3480-2025, retroactively amending the fiscal year 2026 salary schedule for temporary employees included in the annual budget for the city of Kenai, Alaska, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, brought to you by the administration. And that is your consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anybody in the audience from the public that would like to address any item that is on the consent agenda, which was just read into the record? See nobody online or in chambers willing to talk to anything on the consent agenda, we'll bring it back to council. Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the agenda and consent agenda is approved. We do have a recognition award to be given right now before we dive into our scheduled public comments. And we have a gentleman here who has served 14 years on our Parks and Recreation Commission. And when I read this, it was hard for me to believe that it was 14 years ago, to be honest with you. And because I thought I appointed him, but I didn't think it was our previous mayor, Pat Porter, that did, which I would have would have really supported regardless. Mr. Charlie Stevens, who is also a friend of mine, I call him a friend, and appreciate and would like to recognize him here this evening for his service to the city and wish him well for his future plans. So if you want to come up, Charlie, I'll.
Haven't done this since probably eighth grade.
So, yeah, Charlie has a history. We actually, we graduated from Seward High School, graduated in 79, same year that I did. And so we did through junior high and I think maybe in the high school played basketball against either, so there's a little competition.
Well, you switched to hockey. But
Yeah, so-
I was confused my freshman year because Soldotna came over to Seward to play ball, and the Gabriel brothers were always very good ball players. And I asked Jay Davis, I said, Jay, where's the Gabriel twins? Playing hockey. It's hockey. I didn't even know there was hockey in Kenai, anyway. But yeah, it was
Thanks
all,
again,
I
Charlie,
appreciate
for
it.
all your service. So this evening, under item B, schedule, we have no scheduled administrative reports. That brings us to item C, scheduled public comment. We have two here this evening. The first up will be the Browns Bear project with our previous airport manager, Mary Bondurant, and our current city manager assistant, administrative assistant, Christine Cunningham. So you have the floor.
Mayor Gabriel, members of council, we'd like to give you an update and a presentation on our project that we've been working on. When people arrive in Kenai, we want them to feel something right away: awe, connection, and a true sense of Kenai. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe it's been nearly 2 years since council first heard the idea of a bronze sculpture of a mother bear and her cubs just outside the terminal. Thanks to your support in the fall of 2023, that idea has grown into a collaborative effort bringing together local businesses, nonprofits, the city, and a dedicated group of volunteers. Together, we've worked to ensure these bears aren't just pieces of art, but symbols of Kenai's wildlife, culture, and artistic heritage.
The sculpture of a mother bear with her two cubs is placed in such a way that you feel like you've caught them in the wild. One cub stands alert to approaching vehicles, almost making eye contact. The other one is watching mom. It's not just a sculpture, it's a story, and one that reflects respect for nature and celebrates our community's culture and connection to wildlife.
The bears won't just stand on a pedestal, they will be part of a natural setting that is already in place. The bears will be in a stream bed surrounded by native flowers and driftwood, creating a setting that feels as natural as if you'd stumbled upon them in the wild. One of the things that makes this project so special is how many different groups have come together to make it happen, from the Kenaitze Indian Tribe to the Kenai Chamber of Commerce, the Kenai Arts Center, the Kenai National Wildlife Refuge, and of course the Kenai Airport, which we consider to be Alaska's gateway to the Kenai Peninsula. This is truly a community effort. A project like this doesn't happen without passionate people. Our working group has put in countless hours over the past year coordinating with the artists, partners, and sponsors to bring this vision to life.
From day one, we knew the sculpture needed to carry a message rooted in the land, the wildlife, and the people who call this place home. At one of our first meetings, Michael Bernard from the Kenaitze Indian tribe shared a blessing he learned from revered elder Peter Kalifornsky. He asked for safe passage when entering the woods, and we all fell in love with it. It's the perfect welcome message. The message was approved by the Kenaitze Indian tribe, and I would like to read it to you. Grandfather Gaga, we are entering your forest. We won't stay long and we won't take much. We ask that you grant us safe passage while we are here.
I love this message. It honors the Dena'ina people and conveys a theme of respect and safety, which are important when talking about coexisting with bears. When you go into the forest, you want to come back out. Every great project needs champions. Grand Aviation and Three Bears Alaska were the first to step forward and support this vision, showing their belief in bringing the bears to Kenai. They truly are a catalyst for this project. We are grateful to each of our sponsors and everyone who is helping to bring this project to life. After Grand Aviation and Three Bears Alaska supported the project, we began to receive additional sponsorship from longtime airport supporters Rick and Bobby Baldwin, Marathon, Alaska Airline Services, and HDL Engineering. Linden Transportation donated in-kind shipping, bringing the bears to Kenai from Salt Lake City, and Alaska Channel donated advertising. We are grateful to everyone who has been part of this story. We are over the halfway mark. We still need about $60,000 in funding. This summer, we hope to complete our fundraising and finalize the contract with the artists so that by this fall, these bears will be here in Kenai welcoming visitors. Let us know if you would like to be involved, as all contributions will be recognized, and we still need more partners to make this a reality. The bronze artist Stan Watts sent us a miniature bronze for final approval. It is currently on display in the Kenai Visitor and Cultural Center. If you haven't already, please make sure to have a look. This small version allows us to confirm the details with biologists at the Kenai Refuge before the full-size sculpture is cast. And yes, bronze shrinks slightly in the process, which is why the final review is so important. We're thrilled to share this project with the community, not just as art, but as a symbol of what's possible when people come together. There are still ways to support this project. If you, your family, or your business would like to donate, or if you know of someone who would like to see their name or a name of a loved one at the airport, every donation above $100 will be honored on a special donor recognition display at the airport terminal. All donations are tax deductible and can be easily online through the website or through the Kenai Chamber. And thank you to everyone here for being part of this journey. We are happy to answer any questions, take any money.
Say that again. I didn't quite hear that. Take some money, absolutely.
Yeah, take some money.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Vice Mayor Naxa.
Probably the first of several. I was looking at your brochure, yeah, which is very well done, and there's a QR code on the back of something that's been provided to all of us, and I presume this is also at the visitor center, but if you go to that QR code, can you donate through that too? So it's pretty easy. You could do it here or go to the website or.
What was that again? I didn't quite catch that.
You can donate to
Up your
the
mic.
QR code that's on the back of the brochure. You can go to the Kenai Bronze website and donate, or you could go to the Chamber website and donate. And as far as what I mentioned about the $100, so we recognize the fish that are common to the Kenai River. So for $100, you get your name on a rainbow trout, $500 sockeye salmon, coho salmon's $1,500, and the Chinook salmon is $2,500. And then we move up to the corporate sponsorships.
You get a rainbow trout for 100. That was the moving up. Okay. That's okay. Very good. Any further questions, Mary and Christine?
Well, I've already made a donation. If I donate a little more, will I get another fish or something, or?
Yes. Or a bigger one. Like for
A bigger one.
Christmas, I gave my grandkids each $100. And we didn't have a $400 fish, so I chipped in another $100, and they'll have all their names on a sockeye in the terminal when we do the donor recognition board.
Awesome.
Mayor, I think a number of people, council members have kids too, so I would
Yeah.
think that, it'd be a
Kids and
great thing to,
Kids and grandkids.
moralize their kids.
Yeah, exactly. Any further questions? So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming and giving us an update. It's nice to see where you're at on the thermometer. That's always good, and knowing that you're getting closer and closer. Because quite honestly, when you guys start out, that seemed like a pretty far shot, pretty small target out quite a ways. And now you're that bigger target and it's coming into focus. So congratulations on all the hard work you've done. And I would like to mention, as Mary said, the miniature sculpture is over at the the visitor center. And if you haven't had a chance, check it out. It's very, very well done. And it's nice to see that full size. So with that,
I'd also like to add that we have signed a contract with the artist for the 2 baby bears. And soon we hope, at least by July 1st, to have secured the remainder of the funds and enter a contract for the mother bears so we can meet the timeline of our installation, which is in the fall of 2025.
okay.
Pressure's on.
So we're in 2025 now. This is this fall, right? The way you said it made it sound like it was way up, but it's actually this fall, right?
No, it's coming up
That's
fast.
Okay. Very good. Any further questions, comments? Thank you. Next up, we have the 2025 March for Meals event. Jerry Nassen, Vice President of the Kenai Senior Connection. And I'd just like to remind Mary and Christine that we're going to take a break for Missy cookies here after this. So if you want to stick around, you're welcome to do that. Shake people down for money if you want. Okay. Yes. So we have up the Kenai Senior Connection.
Always nice to get to follow somebody else and try to live up to what was said and what was done. A little bit harder here, but you did mention kids. We're at the opposite end of the spectrum here. We're the seniors. This is a community that you've built here at our March for Meals supports our Senior Connection Board. Our main function is March for Meals supports the Kenai Senior Center. The city council here and the city of Kenai supports the Kenai Senior Center. So it's kind of like, I like to liken it like a stool. A 2-legged stool, all it does is fall down. It takes that third leg. So we got the city, we got the center, and then we have the Senior Connection. So that's what we're doing here. And we got a little bit of piece of cardboard here to make a presentation. So do I drag that out or? Do you?
Drag it out.
Drag it out. So this is from the Kenai Senior Center, from our fund and our fundraising that we're put hundreds if not thousands of hours in every year and stuff. So we want to present this to the city and use it to where you need it, it needs to go, and keep us seniors in mind. And then I mentioned that 3-legged stool one more time. Stool, when it's got nothing on top of it, it's kind of boring. So maybe a plate of Missy's cookies will help.
We're going to have the council ask any questions or have any comments, and then we're going to take a moment and do a photo op. Does that sound good with everybody here? Okay, perfect. I'll open comments for council. Vice Mayor Naxton.
Just a little history. I've been for a lot of these, and this is the highest amount, I think. I think I remember it even being like 50,000, and all of that. Is there do you have any of the history on how that's grown through the years? Perhaps Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy will be better at addressing the.
$120,000 is quite impressive.
So March for Meals has increased every year. Last year, in 2024, was our biggest amount at almost 80,000. This year, we raised up about 70,000. So part of this money is from our March for Meals, and then another 50 from the endowment fund. So we've gone from 5,900, 14 years ago, to what we've made. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was just going to say that when you flip that check around, I did not expect to see that, to be honest with you, because generally we've been like 60, 80,000 range, I believe. So, wow. Any further questions, comments? Councilman Raskin.
I look forward to next year's March for Meals. It should be fun.
Likewise. So we're going to take a minute and we're just going to all come down here and do a photo op. But I would like to just say, on the behalf of the council and the city of Kenai, congratulations and thank you for the hard work that you've done to raise those funds. And to see that every year go up and to support the seniors it's very nice to know we have that input from our community as a whole, because I could almost say, obviously, the fourth leg would be our community that contribute and come together for that. So let's take a moment. We'll just take a photo op here and then grab some cookies.
Well, it is good to see the consistency.
Back on the record. Council, we're on item D, unscheduled public comment. And is there anybody from the general public that'd like to address the council at this time on any item that is not on the agenda or consent agenda? Seeing nobody in line, online or in chambers, we'll go to public hearings. First up, we have item E1, ordinance number 3476-2025, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the general fund, fire department personal budget for fiscal year 2025 for unanticipated overtime costs resulting from vacancies and retirements. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Nexted.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to enact ordinance 3476, 2025.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public like to speak to ordinance number 3476-2025? Seeing nobody online or in chambers, we'll bring it back to council. Discussion from council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you. The city manager, if you want to speak to this to some degree, but we did authorize 3 new firemen, and I was just curious, you know, the intent was to reduce overtime, and how are we coming with our recruitment too?
Mr. Eubank.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, through the mayor, council members. So you are correct, Vice Mayor. Under the current staffing level at the Kenai Fire Department, our actual staffing is the station's minimum staffing as well. And what that means is that any vacancy by personnel over there, whether that's vacancies from turnover, whether that's somebody on vacation, somebody away at training, for anybody who's not on shift for any reason, results in a minimum of 14 hours of overtime a day. In fiscal 2025, we had the retirement of our former chief. We had a number of vacancies that trickled down from there, all resulting in a significant amount of overtime. What is anticipated with the addition of 3 new firefighters is that we will have our normal staffing now will be 1 in excess of minimum, meaning 1 person can be off on shift without generating the need for overtime. And we're expecting overtime to be significantly reduced by the addition of those 3 personnel. But this will provide the additional funding for the fiscal 2025, the one we're just wrapping up here, and because of the unanticipated amount of overtime they had this year. As far as recruitment goes, we have offered 1 position that's been accepted. We actually have a firefighter that'll start on July 1st, be assigned to a shift. And we are currently have a recruitment out for the remaining 2 positions that were authorized.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Casena?
Yes.
Mayor Gabriel?
Yes.
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Councilmember Sonart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nakstad?
Yes.
Councilmember Askin?
Yes.
Student Representative Tanner?
Yes.
You have 6 yes votes. Ordinance number 3476, 2025 is enacted.
Next up, we have ordinance number 3477-2025, is increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the general fund police department and accepting grants from the United States Department of Justice and Alaska Municipal League Joint Insurance Association for the purchase of a ballistic vest. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to enact ordinance 3477, 2025.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public like to speak to ordinance number 3477-2025? Seeing nobody online or in chambers, we'll bring it back to council. Discussion of council. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Gabriel?
Yes.
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Councilmember Sonart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nakstad?
Yes.
Councilmember Askin?
Yes.
Councilmember Casena?
Yes.
Student Representative Tanner?
Yes.
You have 6 yes votes. Ordinance number 3477-2025 is enacted.
Thank you. Council, we're on E3, ordinance number 3478-2025, enacting Kenai Municipal Code Section 13.30.070, travel through private or public property, and incorporating a fine into the Kenai Municipal Code 13.10.015, minor offense fine schedule. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Nexton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to enact ordinance 3478, 2025.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public who'd like to speak to ordinance number 3478-2025? Yes, we have Ms. Springer.
Hi. So as the executive director of the Kenai Chamber of Commerce, I am probably part of the reason that this is being brought up. Obviously, at the visitor center, I'm pretty sure Chief Ross and Terry are tired of getting my emails about people driving through the parking lot at excessive speeds. And so they've taken measures to make sure that is not happening as much, which has been very wonderful, honestly. And now there's speed bumps going in, and we still have the blockade up for right now. But it's dangerous, the way people have driven through the parking lot. I think for about a year now, I've been sending emails regarding it because it is such a hazard to our staff and visitors and kids, like even our kids that play out there that come to work sometimes with us. Like they can't play soccer out there if there's nothing out there, because if the ball goes out, there's people who speed through that parking lot just because they don't want to go to the light. And it's both ways. So it's not right now because it's a right turn only, but whenever we take anything away, that barrier, when we took down the gate, it started right back up. And I have a feeling even with the speed bumps, when we take down the barrier, it'll start happening again. I mean, people have already hit the speed bumps pretty hard, and it's a little entertaining to watch personally, but that's because I don't think you should speed through a parking lot. We can't walk over to Moose Meat John to pull out our visitor guides without having to fully check to make sure we're not going to get hit by a car. So I don't think I'm overreacting or exaggerating, and I've seen a lot of comments online about that this is all for, nothing, but it's not. It's actually a genuine concern. I wouldn't bring it forward if it wasn't. So I think that this is just another thing that we can bring forward to try and help the problem, at least at the visitor center. So.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Ms. Springer? I would actually like to say that I have been over there and witnessed it, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I was actually parked kind of towards Moose Meat John Cabin and had a vehicle go by fairly quickly off my bumper. And so, for a few times as I've been, not as much, but to have it happen is, I could see if little kids were, wandering around, that it's not very good. That's just an example, but I think that goes for other scenarios where they're racing through parking lots. Councilman Raskin?
Is the plan to take the barricades down? The ones for the one-way out of?
Mr. Eubank?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Raskin, yes, once the speed bumps are fully, they're about half done right now. They weren't able to get the whole thing done at once. So once those are completed, the intent is to remove those painted Jersey barriers that are out there on the highway. And
Thank you.
I guess I would ask, is there thought of putting up any signage or anything? And I'm guessing that this is probably one of the worst, and maybe I'll defer to Chief Ross, but is this one of the worst areas of people doing this? Mr. Ross?
Through the mayor, this is, I think, where we've heard the most concern for sure. I think there's a couple other spots in town where it occurs, but not near as much concern has been heard from those locations.
Very good. Mr. Eubank?
yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So regarding signage, yes, the intent is for the street department's going to locate 2 signs, no through traffic signs, one at the entrance off the highway and the other off of, I think, Overland there. So yeah, we're installing speed bumps, putting up some signage, and then if this ordinance passes, there'll be some level of enforcement ability from the police.
Very good, thank you. Further questions, comments? Vice Mayor Nexon?
Thank you. I was just curious, in your observations, when people are blasting through your parking lot to the Spur Highway, are they turning left or right or both ways? What have you observed?
Both ways. It doesn't matter. The only thing that has made a difference is the right turn only right now. And there's signs that say you can't turn in from the spur. That way they have to go around. Haven't seen any deterrent as far as coming to the visitor center, but we have seen that people are not using it as a throughway anymore. So, but it doesn't matter. They go both ways normally.
Well, I was just curious about the intersection on Main Street Loop, or whatever that is right there, at the light. You see people blasting through your parking lot. Do you, just generally, is that intersection kind of busy for people wanting to go through left, right? I mean, is there any kind of a correlation that you can tell, or is it just, what's your impression there?
Surprisingly, no, it does not matter. It was used as a throughway, and I think people just got used to using it as a throughway. There could be no traffic whatsoever, and they will still blast through the parking lot to not go to the light for some reason. And even, it doesn't even matter which way they're turning. It's comical, actually, at this point, because I don't understand it, especially when there was no one at the light. And it is a lot safer to go to the light to turn, to go toward Nikiski. So it really doesn't make sense. And there's no turn lane into the chamber from the Spur Highway. So it's not a place where there should be a lot of traffic going in and out.
Further questions of Ms. Mayor? Thank you, Samantha. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to ordinance number 3478-2025?
I just got one question for you.
Just name
guys,
and,
or-
just
Oh,
your
sorry.
name and city of where you reside.
Yeah, Alex Cook, Kenai. I see this a lot on Facebook, and it's a question that I have, and it's not why I came here, but another one is on Airport Way in the Spur. People cut through the hotel parking lot to bust through to cheat the signage and whatever, but thing is, how can you tell if a cop's driving down the Spur and see someone kind of go through there quick? How do they know it's not someone who just pulled out of a parking spot cutting through that's already in there? It's going to be hard to prove someone just cutting through than vehicles that are already in it. I don't hear discussion on that.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Any questions of Mr. Cook? Thank you, Alex. Sure. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to ordinance number 3478-2025? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to council. Comments, deliberation from council? Vice Mayor Knox.
No, thank you. I was going to ask the chief through the city manager just how you intend to enforce this, which kind of also addresses Mr. Cook's question, I think.
Chief Ross?
Through the mayor, Vice Mayor Nagstead. So I guess it'll be like any other infraction that the city has on its books or in state code. An officer has to witness the infraction in order to, or have evidence, a report that it occurred and a witness to go to court on. So they have to have a case. To Mr. Cook's question, if we didn't see the infraction and we don't have a witness, then we don't have something we can cite somebody for. Just like running a stop sign, we have to witness that. So that will be the challenge with enforcement. It'll have to be primarily witnessed by law enforcement for it to be cited.
Further discussion? I guess from my perspective, I would think that, and maybe I'm wrong, but just intuitively think that this is probably a few people that were like the habitual offenders, that would do this, and maybe that's part of the case, or more than one probably, but, I don't think there's more traffic going through these private properties than through the actual collector streets and through the signals. But I think for us, if and for the chief and the department, is if, there are habitual offenders that they can get, if they get called in, then it becomes, something that if we do react to that through the police, that they have the avenue or the ability to at least cite them and find them, which we did not have before. So do I expect the department to sit up and on every corner? No, I do not. But I think if it might be a way to catch habitual offenders, then this helps them in that cause. So I will be supporting this. Further comments? Councilmember Sonar, I'm not sure where you're at, but I wish we could reconvene to where you are. Looks very nice there.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. We are in Fort Collins, Colorado. So I have a question for Chief Ross. I understand that right now there's nothing on the municipal code books or even state law books to be able to cite somebody who's trying to avoid a traffic light by cutting through a parking lot. But my question is there not anything in our code that could be used? I mean, for example, Chief Ross, if you were parked in the chamber parking lot, just sitting there and observing, and here comes somebody off the highway and they're cutting through, new speed bumps aside, but they're cutting through, and you personally witness this car going through the parking lot over to Overland, and you actually catch them in the act. There's nothing on, from what I understand, they go straight through. There's nothing on the books that you could cite them for, like speeding in the parking lot, nuisance, reckless driving. I'm just curious, what kind of tools are there now?
Chief Ross is city manager.
Councilperson Sonar, through the mayor, there really isn't anything that works in a parking lot except with the exception of the one thing you mentioned, which is reckless driving. That's a criminal offense, and that applies in private property as well. But there's a very high threshold to charge somebody with reckless driving. Somebody really has to be placed in danger for that to be prosecuted. So there really isn't an offense, even if I watch somebody go 20 miles an hour across a parking lot to go from one exit to the other right now, there's not an offense to charge somebody with for that. It's not illegal.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Ross.
Further discussion, Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Just a quick clarification, the intent of this, first of all, I am in support of this, of having another tool in the toolbox that we can use if needed. But I would like to clarify something to make sure I understand. This is for one right-of-way to another. We're not looking for, you're going from one parking lot to the next parking lot. Is that correct?
Chief Ross is city manager.
Councilperson Daniel, through the mayor, correct. The way this reads is you have to leave public property through private property and return to public right-of-way in order for this to apply. So if you're leaving the public right-of-way to drive through one parking lot to get to another parking lot, this would not apply. If you're driving across a private parking lot to get to a right-of-way from another private lot, this would not apply. This is from a public right-of-way across a parking lot to a public right-of-way.
Further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Daniel,
Yes.
Councilmember Sonar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nakstad,
Yes?
Councilmember Askin,
Yes.
Councilmember Casena,
Yes.
Mayor Gabriel,
Yes.
Student Representative Tanner.
Yes.
You have 6 yes votes. Ordinance number 3478-2025 is enacted.
Thank you. Council, we're on E4, resolution number 2025-41, approving the Sixth Amendment to the airline operating agreement and terminal area lease and authorizing the city to execute the amended agreement. Pleasure, Council. Vice Mayor Nakstad.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2025-41.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public that'd like to speak to resolution 2025-41? Seeing nobody in chambers or online, we'll bring it back to council. Maybe a little overview, Mr. Eubank, or defer to Mr. Abels.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll take a crack at it here, and Derek can fill in any holes that I miss. So the city's current airline operating agreement expires on June 30th of this year. It's been in place for 5 years. This will provide an amendment to that. This amendment has a couple of key features in it. One, it's going to amend it for another 5 years, so it'll be effective July 1 of 2025, be expiring on June 30 of 2030. There will be no, this agreement calls for no rate increase for fiscal 2026, but for fiscal years beyond 2026, it calls for a 5% rate increase per year. We did meet with all of the airlines. We had a consultation with them where they got to review the proposed agreement, and after that consultation, there were no additional changes made to the agreement. A couple other features that are in this amendment is, the real intent of the city in this amendment was to ensure that we have year-round operations of airlines out of the terminal. So one of the things, we're currently providing a 12% rate subsidy for joint use space in the terminal. We proposed increasing the joint use space subsidy in the winter months from 12 to 18%, and reducing it during the summer 6 months from 12% down to 6%. The net effect is the exact same. The math works out to the same exact 12% rate subsidy that we're currently utilizing. It just, this was in response to some of the airlines' request to pay higher fees during the busy season and lower fees during their slower season. This will assist with that, with the subsidy being higher during the winter months. But it also is geared towards ensuring that, airlines are here for all 12 months of the year to take advantage of that full rate subsidy. Let's see. Derek, you got anything you want to add?
I think you hit most of it. The only thing I would add is that in the past, that 12% has been reduced by 2% every year, and so we're keeping that at that consistent 12% over the 5 years of this agreement. So that's helpful to the airlines as well.
Further questions, deliberation, Vice Mayor Nexon?
I was wondering if the city manager could remind me how the subsidy works. I get the rate in the summer and winter, and at what time does it subsidized? Is there a percentage at the end? How does it work?
Mr. Eubank.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor, through the mayor. So we determined what the joint use space rental rate is for the terminal on a per square footage basis. The subsidy then gets applied to that to reduce that amount. Currently, it's being reduced by 12%, and it's billed monthly to the airlines. So every month, the joint use space is being subsidized or reduced by that 12%. What's going to happen in the future is for the 6 winter months, it will be reduced to the subsidy will grow to 18%, reducing the amount of rent they're paying during those 6 months. And then come summertime, that subsidy will be reduced to 6%, and it will increase the amount of rent that they're paying during those months. The effect is the same 12%, like I said, the same 12% subsidy all year long. They're just paying a higher amount of rent during the busy season when they're all busy here in the summer, and then reducing that rent in the winter months.
Further discussion? Vice Mayor Nexon?
Request unanimous consent.
Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, resolution number 2025-41 is adopted. That brings us to item E5, resolution number 2025-42, authorizing a contract award for the Community Wildfire Protection Plan Phase 3. Pleasure of council. Vice Mayor Nexon.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt resolution 2025-42. Request unanimous consent.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public that'd like to speak to resolution 2025-42? Seeing nobody in chambers or online, we'll bring it back to council. Deliberation, comments from council. Vice Mayor Nexon.
Yes, thank you. I was just thought the city manager might want to let us know where the firework was going to be performed this year.
Mr. Eubank.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor, through the mayor. So this clearing will take place mostly in the corridor around the east side of the airport over on the Marathon Road side. I did, in actual response to a question I received, I did get a report that basically, so I just want to read this to you. So this is how the criteria was used for this land selection. So when evaluating land for the project selection, the primary consideration was egress and critical infrastructure. In the event of a major wildfire or large-scale conflagration in this area, the airport is a top priority for protection, second only to maintaining access via the spur highway, which is essential for deploying necessary response resources. Given the limited remaining funding and the fact that treatment efforts on the west and north sides of the airport have already been completed, focus on completing treatment around the east side of the airport is recommended. This approach will significantly reduce fire and smoke exposure, helping to ensure continued operational capacity at the airport. In the event of a significant fire impacting Kenai, it is critical to maintain the ability to utilize air resources and facilitate personnel access through the airport. The proposed treatment will also enhance egress and safety along the roadways bordering the airport. So that was the criteria when staff put together the RFP and went out for this area. We do have a little bit of funds remaining. We were trying to use up all the funds. It's kind of a guessing game of how much it's going to cost to do it per acre, and it's really dependent upon the terrain. So we're going to be working with the contractor to maybe expand that scope a little bit in that same area and utilize the remaining funds that we do have for the project. But this will take care of the initial area and the additive alternate area that was defined there on the eastern side of the airport, Marathon Road.
I have a quick follow-up, Mr. Eubank. Do you have an idea of the total acreage that would be able to be cut with these funds?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't, but I know Public Works Director does.
Mr. Fry.
Yes, thank you. So there was two sections. Tract A was 93.31 acres, and then the additive alternate, which was on the west side of Marathon Road, was Tract B, and that's 35.04 acres.
Okay, very good. And just for clarification, both additive alternate number one was included in the contract award?
Correct.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, any further questions, comments, deliberation? Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, resolution number 2025-42 is adopted. That brings us to E6, resolution number 2025-43, authorizing a contract award for the DipNet dumpsters and porta potties for fiscal year 2026. Pleasure, Council Vice Mayor Nexon.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2025-43, request unanimous consent.
I'll second.
Is there anybody from the general public that'd like to speak to resolution 2025-43? See nobody online or in chambers, we'll bring it back to council. I know this is a pretty standard contract for us every year, and it sounds like it's about what we've been paying. Would that be correct, Mr. Eubank?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe it's a little bit of an increase over last year, but it was within the budgeted amounts.
Further discussion? Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objection? Seeing none, resolution number 2025-43 is adopted. That brings us down to H10, which was added on our laydown. Action approval request for a special meeting to authorize binding of city insurances. And I believe there was a recommended date for the special meeting of June 30th. But Mr. Eubank, can you give us an overview of what we would be meeting on for a special meeting? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So KMC requires that, Kenai Municipal Code requires that council authorize the binding of insurance. We're able to do direct negotiations with our insurance provider now, but I know this is kind of the combining this year. APRA is being formed. It is the new will be the single risk pool for municipalities here in the state of Alaska, where there used to be two. And I think just the combination of that combination and then honestly, we just did not get it in this council packet to do this award. We apologize for that, but we do need to meet on June 30th. I worked with the clerk's office today that she can then get it advertised in the newspaper. And we can still bind coverage that will be effective on July 1. So we're just respectfully requesting a special meeting with this single subject, and and apologize for the inconvenience.
So, council, that's on a Monday. It's the Monday before our next regular city council meeting, which is moved to July 2nd. Yeah, so we're basically looking for June 30th. We need to have quorum, and we're looking for a time on that day, preferably probably early evening. I would suggest around 5:30 or so. Get a thumbs up.
How much time do you anticipate this will take? 15, 20 minutes, or?
Mr. Eubank?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't believe it's going to be a controversial resolution. Like I said, we're binding insurance with the only public entity risk pool here in Alaska. It's very comparable coverage to what we currently have. It's within our budget that was adopted, so I don't believe it'll be controversial. It should take probably 15 minutes, I would think, since it is just a single subject as well.
So we're looking at 5:30 on Monday, June 30. I had a thumbs up from, I'm seeing nodding of heads. I can't see, okay, I see a thumbs up from Ms. Sonart, thank you. So we'll go with that, June 30, 5:30 PM for a 15-minute, approximately 15-minute special meeting. Okay? That brings us to commission reports. First up, we have Council on Aging. Vice Mayor Nexon.
Thank you, Mayor. Had Council on Aging on June 12th. They had three new business discussion items. They talked about some emergency training dates. They didn't establish a date to do this training. They just established a window of dates, and they're trying to sort that out when they would do the emergency training. The next item was an update on the work plan goals. And they've been quite active working on these goals and coming up with, on how they're going to achieve it and what they're going to do. And finally, another problem they've got is encouraging consistent sign-in for lunch and activities at the senior center. And this is really important. This is something I didn't realize was happening, because I go there to buy lunch sometimes, and I buy lunch and they give me a ticket and I don't really know where to do it, but then I go in and maybe there's something, but that's not enough. What they need you to do is register, but they also have a little sign-in thing there that's on a computer screen. And what that does is it establishes that you're a senior or you're not a senior, and it affects the amount of money that the senior center gets from the state of Alaska for, for lunches and whatnot. It enumerates it. Otherwise, it just doesn't count. So there's a whole lot of, if you want to call it, leakage that's going through. I guess I was too. I didn't realize it. You go to the front, and it's usually a busy place, and you go inside, and usually there's people around that computer screen. I don't think that was for me, but it is. But they're working on how they're going to encourage people, maybe make it a little bit more of a funnel going into the dining hall, that kind of, and having some people helping with that, and then making some announcements and whatnot. And while I was there, I didn't have lunch to check in, but I just said I want to check in, and it asked for my first name, Henry, and then it established who I was from that. There was one other question, I can't remember what it was, but then they had a series of different things I could be doing. I could be there for a meeting, I could be there for lunch or something else, and I was there for Council on Aging, and I clicked on that, and it shows use. So, everybody in this room and anybody listening knows, and if it doesn't know who you are, the nice lady at the gate, the desk there will help you, and she has a little form to fill out that establishes who you are, and then you're in the system. So that's part of it. So that was their meeting, and also the senior director talked about the August 15th old timer luncheon that is coming up, and they have there, and Peggy Arness will be. She'll be 100 years old, I think, just before then, and it'll be a celebration of of her 100 years, and she's quite a lady if you haven't met her. If you have, either way, it'd be a good opportunity to meet her and see her there. So I encourage anybody on the July 14th from 11 to 2 to stop by the senior center. Their next meeting is scheduled for July 10th.
Thank you. Airport Commission?
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Airport Commission also met on the 12th of June. Had a presentation on Browns Air project, which was well received. A lot of discussion around airport operating agreement for the 6th Amendment, which we agreed to tonight. So that was good. And also some recommendations for special use permits, which were in our packet here. So that was also good. And then the most interesting discussion, I thought, because I'm learning all about the airport, and Vice Mayor actually might know more, is I guess the fuel pump for general aviation is down. I think I got that correct. Yes, no?
It's back up today.
It's back up. All right, that's good news, because apparently that was a hot topic there. So anyway, so that was an interesting discussion. And they're going to meet again on July 10th at 6.
Thank you. Harbor Commission?
Thank you, Mayor. And I've been flying to Soldotna to get fuel for the last month. So, well, it's kind of inconvenient.
The struggle is real for you.
Yeah. It is, and for everybody else that needed fuel there. I handled the Harbor Commission meeting, so that's why I kind of butted in there a little bit. And actually, they didn't have a meeting. We had a field trip, which was kind of fun, down to the city docks, and Director Lee was there, and we had about 5 or 6 folks from the Harbor Commission, and actually Mr. Cook was there as well. And we got to walk out on the dock and look around and discuss, its use and its operation, how it's leased right now, and how Western Marine is using it, but it's got a dual use for the fishermen and other uses, and look at its general condition. And I know that the dock has gone through a number of repairs since one of the last 2 earthquakes, or both of them, that we had, the 16 and the 18, but it seemed to be in pretty good shape. I mean, it could be painted or something, but that's just really not necessary. But it looked like it was in really good shape and being used. The biggest concern with the docks that we've got down there that I could see and what I heard was that it's kind of a growing eddy there where the bottom deposits are filling up, and you can't dock there, certainly not during low tide, and probably other kind of semi-low tides for that matter. It has to be a fairly mid-tide or higher. Well, it depends on the draft of the boat too. And I'm not sure there's a solution to that other than moving the dock out farther. I guess the other thing that I learned that I'll pass on, which is just trivia, I suppose, and I don't know why, but is that the dock wasn't constructed by the city. It was constructed by the state of Alaska. And I'm not sure if it was say, funds that came to the city, but I think it was the state that built it. And I guess I don't know the history on that, but just that's what I have. But the next meeting, I'm sorry, I didn't look. July.
August.
Pardon?
August.
August 11th is their next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Commission? Alex, yeah, okay. Planning and Zoning Commission, I think there is a under manager's report in the packet. There's some information from Mr. Best in there, so if you want to get up to tune on parks, there's that information. Planning and Zoning Commission?
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. The June 11th, 2025 meeting was canceled for lack of agenda items. The next meeting is Wednesday, the 25th.
Thank you. Beautification Commission?
Beautification Commission has had no meeting. Their next meeting is scheduled for September 9.
Okay, very good. On the report of the mayor, a few things here. On June 6th, which was a Friday, had 2 ribbon cuttings that day for the city of Kenai. Number 1 was at 7 a.m. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. We had Aleutian Airways had their maiden voyage down to Kenai for their our 3rd air carrier, so we were able to go out there and take some photos of their plane, their turboprop. I think they said it was a 16-minute flight, and they actually had to kind of slow down because they ended up coming in early ahead of schedule, but got got to meet their general manager and some of the staff and toured the plane that they got. And I got to say, their plane is pretty, the one they brought down at least was very, very nice plane. It was almost like a private plane, actually, with the legroom and the seats and stuff. So wish them well for their business in Kenai here. And then, I would also like to mention, we had Councilmember Askin and Vice Mayor Naxton were both there at that ribbon cutting as well. Beautiful day, Chamber of Commerce Day actually ordered. On the, that afternoon at 4:30, I was attending the grand opening of their new addition at Aspen Creek. And that was very well attended, a nice event. And if you haven't been over there, I'd recommend you go check it out. What they did is they sort of built this building in between that connected their two buildings, and they got a memory care unit and other things that they're providing for our local elderly population. But looks like a very, very well-run facility and very, dedicated staff and very well done. The construction, the whole layout was very nice. And then this last Saturday, I went and visited a couple lemonade stands. I know if you're around town, Saturday was a busy day in Kenai. There was a lot of stuff going on. The ball fields were packed. There was lemonade stands everywhere. One of them I visited was over at Municipal Park, and there was a ton of kids over there. I think there was a birthday party going on, and actually stopped by the chamber to that lemonade stand there. And I think Sam said there was like 42 or 43, over 40, 44 stands. So you probably, at least if you're around town, you would have run into at least a couple of them. And then from there, went over to the airfair, and again, another well-attended event. It was neat to see all the planes there and the folks, and it looked like a really good turnout and part of a really big day in Kenai. It was good to see. This Friday, I scored a spot on our Kenai golf team representing the city of Kenai for the Boys and Girls Club, so I look forward to the Boys and Girls Club tournament. I'm going to apologize in advance to my teammates for what my play is going to be, but hopefully I can sink a putt here and there and help out. And that concludes my report to the mayor, which brings us to administration reports. Mr. Eubank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. A few things to give you an update on. So staffing, we had one new senior center driver start. Mr. Mark Fitt started on Monday, and Brandon Skinner joined the city's utility as a utility operator 2 on June 9th. We are currently recruiting for a deputy clerk, an animal control officer, a police officer, 2 firefighters, a recreation center attendant, and a temporary utility technician. So folks out there looking for a good job, check out the city's website. We got some out there. The mayor did mention I want to shout out to some of our departments here, the airport for the airfare last Saturday. To expand on what the mayor said, there were 21 booths that were set up. They included the Airport Commission had one, FAA Flight Services had one, Challenger Learning Center had a very popular one where kids were launching model rockets. New this year at the show was a show and shine. The display was a big hit. Participants competed in categories like Best Paint Job, Crowd Favorite, and a very popular one, the Duct Tape Masterpiece, which was won by Everett's Air Fuel in their C-46. So sounded like it was a great time at the airfair. I want to give a shout out to the animal control staff. They ran the second annual animal fair on the green strip over there. And just connect people with a lot of services for animals and some information over there. So really appreciate the staff. That was very well attended as well. I want to bring to council's attention, I did meet a little over a week ago. I met with some of the engineering folks from the Corps working on the bluff stabilization project, and they had some concerns about some of the properties up on top of the bluff, expressed some concerns on whether some of those properties, or even after this wall is constructed and the remaining erosion does take place, it is going to take place, if some of these structures are actually going to survive or not. And so we've started having some conversations with some of these property owners. I think you can imagine how those conversations start, but I think we have to start somewhere and start working on this. There is one in particular, we had Corps folks in today expressing some concern about some of the debris that's falling over from one property and likely going to have to be removed before crews are able to work underneath to actually install the wall. So we're going to continue trying to work on that situation. But I did want council to be aware, we have asked HDR, our design engineers on the project, if they can put together a proposal to us to help us understand. What's new information to us at this point is at the start of this project, before construction, they resurveyed and they've now aligned where the wall is going to take place. We know where the wall is going to be. And based upon that information, if we can get reasonable estimates on where the bluff should come to rest up above, we think would be really helpful for us in starting to have these conversations with some of those private property owners up there about some of these structures. So we're looking forward to getting that from the design team and see what that proposal looks like, and we're going to continue working on that. But if you hear that we're having conversations with property owners, it's absolutely accurate, and I think if you went over there and looked at some of the properties we're looking at, you would absolutely understand why as well. So do want to give a shout out to some of our public safety folks. We had a Lifesaver Award, involved a couple of our dispatchers, Dispatcher Boyle and Day, Kenai Fire Department's A shift, which includes Captain Porter, Engineer Torianen, firefighters Alberts, Nelson, and Thompson, and we had Captain Horton also respond. They had an individual who was found in a local establishment, a local store, who was unconscious, unresponsive, had a heart attack. Dispatcher Boyle was able to get some folks at the store along with a good Samaritan. They started performing CPR on the individual. Fire department personnel got on site and were able to administer several rounds of electrostimulus, I don't know what you really call it, and some drugs, and they actually got a heartbeat and rhythm back. Individual is medevac to Anchorage, and I think they're expecting to recover. So just a great story. For those guys and for those men and women over there, it's what they do, but I think we have to take a second every now and then just to take a step back and realize what they really bring to this community. So really proud of those folks and the work that they do. At the next meeting, I just want to bring to council's attention, we did pass, council authorized the memorandums of understandings with both the Kenaitze and the Salamantov tribes. We have received the signed agreement back from the Kenaitze tribe and expecting it back from Salamantov tribe. But one thing that's in those MOUs is it requires the city to designate a municipal liaison officer to facilitate ongoing cooperation and serve as the primary point of contact under those. I do plan to bring that to council as an action item at the next council meeting, and it'll be up to council whether they want to appoint the city manager or another individual. And but that will be on the agenda there for July 2nd. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions of the city manager? Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Thank you for letting us know about the progress of those MOUs. My only question is, once we get the Salamantov agreement, are we planning on getting something on the books with them to meet in the not too distant future?
Ms. Sheehan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Daniels, yeah, that would be my intent, is to work with their director to get something scheduled at, when it's convenient for both bodies.
Further questions of the city manager? Seeing none, we'll go to, we have no city attorney here today, so I could, is he? Oh, there we go. I was going to actually give him I was going to try to deliver your line, Scott, go ahead.
I know, thank you, Mayor Gabriel, and members of council, but I actually want to say that today I'm in Boise with the Kenai Kicks playing in the Western Regional Finals. We're the first team to be here in at least a decade from Kenai. And I'm just really proud of the girls, and I hope you guys are too.
We are, and we look forward to the complete report at our next meeting of how the tournament went, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blow. With that, we'll go to our city clerk, Ms. Sainer.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. In your packet this week was the very first annual report of marijuana licenses that will be renewed in August. And if the applications come through and there are no changes to the existing uses and there's no grounds to object, those will be approved administratively. So that's my report, and I'm available for questions.
So this is on that, just so everybody knows, this is the new format that's to start for us, our process of non-objection or objection, either way.
That's correct.
Very good. So if you didn't have a chance to peruse that list, that was all listed in that report. And I like the way you highlighted it so people didn't miss it as well. With that, we'll go to additional public, oh, sorry, does anybody have any questions of the clerk? Seeing none, with that, we'll go to additional public comment. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to address the council at this time? Ms. Springer.
I was eating a cookie at the first time you asked for public comment, so. I did hand out the invitations for Peggy Arness's 100th birthday celebration. That will be at the Kenai Visitor Center, July 14th from 11 to 2 p.m. We plan on having food trucks in the parking lot and cupcakes and a cake, speakers, and a slideshow. So it should be a fun get together. I met with her day before yesterday at her house, which is like a museum. I got to go through all her scrapbooks and photo albums, and I probably could have spent 12 years there and been content with my life. It was so cool. She has the best stories ever. So I hope I am like that when I'm 99. So please come to that because I think it'll be really cool. Again, she's very special to the Kenai Chamber, to the community. So it should be a really fun event. 4th of July is 2 weeks away, which is terrifying and great at the same time. So I have finally kind of finalized everything. We'll get the schedule up tomorrow-ish. We're gonna have the carnival run again by Forever Dance. We have a dunk tank this year. That's gonna be run by Pop Warner. We're gonna have live music from 12 to 4 from Chris Town. We'll have the beer garden from Kenai River Brewing. And yeah, we're just working out all the details, but it's always a massive undertaking. So I'm excited that it's actually, everything's going well. So we're just gonna keep chugging forward with that. I talked to Tyler from Parks and Rec about the updated route for not only, we have Summer Solstice run on Saturday, but also it's the same route as Kenai River Marathon for the 5K and other parts of the race, and how we're gonna have to, we had to reroute it a little bit because the bluff was falling in by the church. So it's not safe for the runners to go there anymore. So Tyler made a great map. I can't wait to get it out there so that people know not to fall into the ocean. Mm-hmm. And other than that, we're just, yeah, busy. So that's all.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Springer? Thank you, Samantha. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody else from the general public who'd like to address the council this time? See nobody in chambers or online, we'll go to public, or the council comments rather. Let's start again. Maybe we'll come back down here with Vice Mayor Naxted.
I thought you were kidding. Yeah, the mayor mentioned that we were there at the ribbon cutting for Illusionaire, and with the aircraft, it's a Saab 2000. They actually quit making them, but this aircraft, it actually cruises at about according to their manager, it cruises at about 380 knots, which is kind of comparable with the 737. It's the fastest turbo aircraft, I think, in the world, or one of the, or if it's not the only problem with that is you can't exceed, there's a speed limit below 10,000 feet at 250 knots. So that's why they only get here in 12 to 15 minutes from Anchorage. So you probably spend more time on the ground. The airplane itself, it can have 50 seats. It's set up for 30. So in doing so, it's kind of like having a exit row plus. You can't reach the tray and the seat in front of you because it's too far out. But you don't need it anyway with the quick trip unless you're going to somewhere else. But it's a pretty neat airplane, and one of these days I'll have a purpose to fly to Anchorage when I'm not flying myself, and I'd like to try that out. But it looks like a very comfortable airplane. And I went to the airfair this last weekend. Actually, Derek invited me. He wanted me to kind of MC it there at the beginning and all of that, and introduce folks. And so I did that, and it was well attended. The VFW and others. The Color Guard was there presenting the colors. It was a great day for that. Lots of pilots, a lot of families coming through. I like to see that. We had food vendors there as well, and all the booths that the city manager was talking about. So something that the airport and the public looks forward to every year. So look forward to that next year. And we also celebrated Flag Day while we were there too, because Saturday was Flag Day, and that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Casana.
Thanks. Most of what I have to say is just recognition or thanks. Want to thank Henry for attending the harbor work session for me due to some scheduling, so really appreciate that. Wanted to thank Director Best for some quick response. I had contacted him on the weekend. There was it wasn't last weekend, but the weekend before. Kenai Central High School was having a championship game and needed some coordination, and he was quick to respond even on a weekend to make sure that happened, and so they appreciated it. I appreciated it. Want to wish the Kenai Kick team and Director Bloom good luck. Hopefully we see another Kenai win. And then I also had the opportunity to go to the Kenai Art Center on Saturday for the pop-up art sale that was going on with some really talented local artists, as well as just seeing the different artists that were on display. And it's always amazing to see how creative and talented people in this town are. So can't recommend that enough. You get a flyer every meeting other than this meeting about the exhibits, so you should know what's going on there. And then just a shout out to the contractors working on the gas line, just the work they're putting into restoring the areas that they've dug up, whether it's on Forest Drive or elsewhere. Sidewalks look nice. The dirt's dirt again and smooth, and so I think it's just nice to see those things get restored. So I think that's it. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. Not nearly as exciting report as my councilmember next to me, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Saturday was busy, lots of fun events. I was out helping my daughter slinging lemonade, which was a lot of fun. They have a great time. I cannot believe how many lemonade stands there were. That Lemonhead must have had a lot of lemonade that day. So that was exciting. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the airfair. My wife went and loved it. It's always a fun thing to do. We just couldn't do it all. But it was well attended, I heard, and there's a band there, which was exciting. So I'm glad that we have all these fun events to offer in our community. That was really, really neat. And it was great seeing everybody come out for all this stuff. So, yeah. And other than that, that's pretty much all I got. Enjoy this nice weather while you can.
Councilmember Raskin.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. I too attended the airfair, and it was pretty awesome. I hadn't been to one before, so that was nice. And the ribbon cutting, that airplane is amazing. I remember my dad talking about that Saab 2000 airplane. So yeah, I would recommend we fly that plane. That's pretty awesome. Thank you to our fire and police departments. Just seems like you're always there when we need them. And I had to work on Saturday, so I managed to hit the airfare, but I didn't get to hit any of the lemonade stands. But I had to go to Nanilchik, and there was one at the corner of Coho Loop. So that was pretty cool. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you. Student Representative Tanner.
Thank you. So I do have a few things to report. For Kenai Alternative and Connections Homeschool, I have nothing to report. For Kenai Central High School, on June 20th is boys varsity baseball versus South Anchorage High School at the Oilers Ball Field in Kenai. On June 21st is boys varsity baseball versus Junior Douglas High School and Madisonville High School from Kentucky at the Oilers Ball Field. On June 24th is boys junior varsity and varsity baseball versus Chugiak High School at the Oilers Ball Field. On June 26th is boys varsity baseball versus Bartlett High School at Bartlett's baseball field. On June 27th is boys varsity baseball versus South Anchorage High School at the Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage. On June 28th is boys varsity baseball versus Chugiak High School and Klamath Falls High School from Oregon at the Mulcahy Stadium. On June 28th is also boys junior varsity baseball versus Diamond High School at the Oilers Ball Field. And on June 29th is boys junior varsity baseball versus Service High School at the Oilers Ball Field.
Thank you, Student Representative Tanner. Councilmember Sonard.
Thank you, Mayor Gabriel. I don't know if you guys can see me. I have more ambient light here than the Zoom camera can pick up. But I want to wish our golfers good luck this Friday at the tournament. May all your drives go straight and may your putts go into the hole. And that's all I've got. Looking forward to be back in Kenai soon.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your time out there. And just one last shout out to Senior Connections for their generous donation here of $120,000. And again, thanks to Charlie Stevens for his dedicated work for Parks and Rec. And with that, seeing no other business before this body, we are adjourned.